And welcome back to TGR, that's Gaming Robo. Now today we are doing our top 10 list of central midfielders on the game. We've done defensive central midfielders, we are now going one step higher on the pitch to central midfielders. We're going to show you guys who I think personally works well within my team, my tactics, so that's the reason why they are in my top 10. If you haven't done so already guys, please make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button and hit that notification bell as well. And of course guys, please make sure if you want to be part of my Patreon team, the link's on the description below. Click on that. You've got 3 different bands to choose from, and supporting me will help me become to do better videos and more entertaining videos, so then I can entertain you all a lot better. Apart from that guys, let's start the show. Let's see who's at number 10 on my top 10 list of central midfielders on Championship Manager 0102. Kakaba Kaladze. If you haven't really bought this player before guys, I don't understand why you haven't. I know it shows he's a defensive midfielder. I bought him before from AC Milan, and I play him as a central midfielder when I was managing Liverpool at the time. I tell you what, with him and Steven Gerrard together, God, honestly, it is scary to see how well these two players work together. It really, really is. These two together, I mean, Kaladze alone, he's amazing. Working with Steven Gerrard, it's like tenfold. It works so much better together as a team. Now, the sad thing is, with Kaladze, it takes a lot of money to get him away from AC Milan. I mean, I know it shows he's only valued at $6.5 million, but took me nearly £20 million for AC Milan to say yes to selling him to me. He does get paid $30,000 a week, which is quite a lot, to be fair, for a Georgian, age 23, but he is worth it, guys. He really, really, really is. Now, obviously, with him being a Georgian, you'd expect him to not be up to the standards within most central midfielders, but I tell you what, he will prove you wrong. Give him a try, buy him, and you will see how well he does within your team. Now, Kaladze did finish at number 10, so let's see who's in my number 9 placed on my top 10 central midfielders on this game. David Beckham. Now, guys, let's be honest. David Beckham we buy purely because his set pieces is brilliant, corner taking brilliant, crossing's brilliant, his stamina is very good, his work rate's fantastic as well. Now, for a lot of people, obviously, if you're not Man United manager and your other teams, let's be honest, it's very, very, very hard to get him away from Manchester United. But let's say if you do manage Manchester United, you have David Beckham within your team, you buy certain other midfielders that you know, or looking through my list later on, would work well with David Beckham. You know, he is an absolute brilliant player on this game. It's definitely one that you will be able to rely on in most games on this game. Now, David is valued at basically £19 million. He does get paid $27,500 a week. I've never tried to buy Beckham from Manchester United before, purely because I know it's going to take too much money to take him away from there. But David Beckham is number 9 on my list. Let's see who's number 8 on my top 10 list of central midfielders on this game. Michael Stewart. Now, Michael Stewart, he shows he's a defensive midfielder, but I play him as a central midfielder. And you need to make sure from the start of the game, if you buy him or if you're a Man United manager, you put him in intense skill and tactics training. I leave shooting on light and I leave fitness on medium, and give him a year. Put him on your subs bench. You make sure that you do give him game time. He turns, his potential ability is brilliant. Full stop, it is brilliant. You know, I mean, the stats don't quite show it, but you need to give it that opportunity, that chance for Michael Stewart to develop, because he turns out to be brilliant on this game. You need to give him that chance. If you do buy him, he is valued at £1 million, probably looking about £3 million to take him away from Man United, and he does get paid £2,000 a week. So he is cheap, relatively cheap on this game, But he is, for some reason on this game, Man United players just seem to be, especially their youth players, they seem to be epically good, on this game. Now, Michael Stewart is number 8 on my list. Let's see who's number 7 on my top 10 central midfielders. Massimo Donati, another AC Milan player. When you buy this guy, he's a young Italian. When you do buy him, you play him, you give him the right training. His stats looks like they are -9 ability, so basically one below the highest one that you can get, obviously. Now, to get him away from AC Milan, he's valued at 3.3 million. You're probably looking about 5, maybe 6, pushing the boat, because they don't play him all the time, you see. But unfortunately, he does get paid £17,000 a week. I have managed to buy him before. If I remember rightly, I was playing a 4-3-3 formation. I had Donati in the centre. I had Kerr on one side of him. And if I remember rightly, it was them two in the centre, and I had Lundén behind them. And honestly, blows your mind. It really does blow your mind how good those trio are together. But I mean, apart from that, I mean, like I said, with Donati, you're probably looking about 13, maybe 14 years worth of service if you buy him at the start of the game. So he is a very good buy, and he is a very well-respected player within my top 10 list, that's for sure. But Donati, that's enough for Donati. Let's see who's next on my list and who's just missed out on the top 5 place on my list here. Alberoni. First of all, you're going to say his stats don't look good. He plays for Vasco da Gama, not the best Brazilian team on the game. But I'm telling you this now, you buy him, it's going to take a bit of leverage when it comes to the work permit. That is granted. I think I got him at the age of 20, so that's 3 seasons in. But after he's 22, you take a screenshot of his stats now, you go 5 years on and you see his stats then, you will see the massive difference with Alberoni. He's honestly one of these players that's hidden under the radar. He's a hidden gem for Brazil, that's for sure. Now, he is valued at £375,000 a week, and he does only get paid £250 a week as well. Sorry, he's worth £375,000. Just realised what I said then. And he gets paid £250 a week. But he plays anywhere across the line when it comes to midfield. But honestly, guys, you need to give him a chance. You buy him whenever you can. Give him the training. You give him the game time when it's possible. Obviously, playing against a lower club, obviously. And you'll see him shine. Honestly, he will shine for you, but you need to give him that chance. But unfortunately, Alberoni has missed out on my top 5 list. Let's see who picked him at number 5 on this top 10 list of central midfielders of Championship Manager 01-02. Giuseppe Guardiola. Now, I'm purposely putting him 5th on my list for teams that are not in the Premiership. He is brilliant from Division 1 down. He really is. He turns out to be a brilliant player, really influential player within your team, and one person who should be a captain within your team if you manage to get him on a free transfer. Now, when you do get him on a free transfer for your team, you are looking about £8,000 a week to offer him so he would sign for your club. I always give him as a squad rotation, but I make him captain, so it gives you that little bit of extra leeway to give him less money for a weekly wage, of course. You do get about 4 seasons with him, 5 depending on. I mean, I had him when I was managing Torquay United, and I managed to get to the Premier League in the 5th season, and on that 5th season he retired, which is unfortunate. Maybe he just thought, got to the Premier League, it's time to retire. But no, he is a really good player, especially for in Division 1 down, if you're in the English League, of course. I've not tried to buy him in a lower Premier League team, purely because I don't know if I can make him work well in the Premier League. But certainly one thing that I'm now thinking about. I'd like to give that a challenge, of course. But Guardiola is number 5 on my list. Let's see who's number 4 on my list here of the best central midfielders on the game. Jonas Lundén. Now, I know his main role is an attacking midfielder, but I have found personally playing him as a central midfielder works a lot better for him. He gets so much more time dribbling. He gets his passing completion higher, which of course is much more beneficial for your team. Now, Jonas Lundén, at the start of the game, you can approach him on a free transfer to be able to come and join your club in December of 2001. If you want to try and buy him from IFK Göteborg, once he signed a contract, they try and charge you over £2.5 million for him because they know how well he turns out to be. He does get paid £825 a week. Relegation release clause is there, but IFK Göteborg is not one of these teams, unfortunately, that do get relegated on the game. Now, with Jonas Lundén, the main attributes I look at for him: work rate, teamwork, his stamina, his passing, his determination. All of those key elements there work so much better for him as a central midfielder. If you want to play him as an attacking midfielder, you can, but you want your passing completion at a higher rate, you want his dribbling rate at a higher rate. He works better as a central midfielder on this game. Now, unfortunately, Jonas Lundén did miss out on a top 3 space on my top 10 list. Let's see who pipped him at number 3. Eugen Bopp. Eugen Bopp doesn't look much looking at him right now. He's 17 years old. Now, because he is part German, you don't have to worry about the work permit issues, of course. But you buy him at the earlier stage on this game from Nottingham Forest. It's not that much at all. I mean, he is valued at 650,000, so you're probably looking about 1.2 million to prize him away. And he does get paid just under £5,000 a week. With Eugen Bopp, you get literally 17 years worth of a player who can play in this game. And his stats turns out to be remarkably amazing. Once you give him the right training program, you give him game time, starting off with lower clubs, obviously the cup ties, of course. He turns out to be a really, really good player. One of these players which, if you develop him within 5-6 years, you can sell on for a massive, massive amount of money. And it just gives you so much more buying power when you want to look at other players, of course. Now, Eugen Bopp did miss out on number 2 spot. Now, number 2 spot, someone everyone should recognise on this game. And that person is Rafael van der Vaart. Rafael van der Vaart, a young 18-year-old Dutchman from Ajax. It takes a little bit of buying power to get him away from Ajax. He's only valued at 2.8, but they, for some reason, always want to try and push you towards £10 million or even more to get him away from the club. He does already get paid £15,500 a week at such a young, tender age of 18. He's one of these legends on the game that just for some reason his stats never seem to look good, but he turns out to be an absolutely amazing player when playing for your club. His passing rate is fantastic. His dribbling rate's fantastic. His goal scoring record's fantastic. Everything about him on this game is fantastic, apart from his stats, which is one thing I've never understood. But he's definitely a player that you should definitely be looking at in buying for your team. Unfortunately, Van der Vaart did miss out on number 1. Let's see who pipped him at number 1 on my top 10 list of the central midfielders on this game. Mark Kerr, the legend himself, Mark Kerr, on my number 1 spot on my top 10 list of central midfielders on this game. Look at his stats. He plays for Falkirk, and he's got fantastic stats already at the age of 19. He is valued at 300,000, but you're probably looking at about £3 million to actually Falkirk to accept the offer from yourself to get him away from Falkirk. And he does get paid £500 a week. The non-promotion release clause you can definitely wait for, but with Falkirk they seem to sell him cheaply to any other team. Unless you're managing that said team, they'll make you want to pay more. So it's a risk waiting to see if you can get him for £200,000, because a load of other clubs do tend to buy him quite quickly. And the relegation release clause, once again, that's something else that you can wait for, but it is a massive risk because, like I said, the clubs do buy him. When you look at Mark Kerr, if you exclude the legendary status that his name has within this game, his work rate, his teamwork, his technique, his stamina, his off-the-ball focus, his determination, his balance, his agility, his acceleration, his bravery, everything, tick, 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 tick. He ticks all the boxes for your central midfield role that you would have within your team. And he's one of these players also that can play in defensive midfield as well, and he doesn't take that long to retrain him to be a defensive midfielder. But apart from that, guys, I mean, that is it. Mark Kerr, without a shadow of a doubt, no one can argue with the fact that he has to be number one within the best central midfielders on this game. Now, if you have liked the video, guys, please make sure that you do smash a like on the video, okay? Please make sure you do so. And if you haven't done so already, please make sure you do subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit that notification bell as well. Apart from that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you all at my next video here on Championship Manager 0102, top 10 best players within the game. Thanks very much, guys. See you next time. Bye.